Section 9.5 is the best section ever because it is quadratic equations and the quadratic formula. And when nothing else works, you're going to use the quadratic formula, which is written right here. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so first we need to identify my a, b, and c. My a is 1, my b is negative 12, and my c is a negative 14. So if I have x equals the opposite of b, which would be 12, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 144, because that would be 12 squared is 144, minus 4 times 1 times a negative 14 all over 2a, which is 1. So now I've got 12 plus or minus, you have to write this all out, plus or minus, that would be 144 minus, and 4 times 1 is a negative 4 times a negative 14 would be a positive 56 all over 2. So now I've got 12 is plus or minus the square root of, it's going to be 200 all over 2. So now I need to divide and simplify. Right now I've got two equations, but I can't really solve them with my plus and minus in here. So my first equation is going to be 12 plus the square root of 200 divided by 2. And my second equation is going to be 12 minus the square root of 200 divided by 2. Now we can simplify square roots, but we have not gotten into that yet. So we're just going to approximate the square root of 200. So if I type that into my calculator, that's 14.14. So 12 plus 14.14 divided by 2, and 12 minus 14.14 divided by 2. Imagine if we were graphing these, how messy they would be. Okay, so that would be 26.14 divided by 2. And negative 2.14 divided by 2. So now I make my solutions, and I'm going to go ahead and do both of those solutions. I should have two of them. So if I do my blue, that would be a negative, that would be a negative 1.07 approximately. And my green would be 26.14 divided by 2, 13.07. Those are approximately both my solutions, so that means that it's going to cross my x-axis twice. My parabola will cross my x-axis twice. Okay, so let's identify my a, b, and c. First thing I need to do is rewrite my equation. So 5x squared minus 4x, because remember that is my b, and then I've got minus 3 equals 0. So my a is 5, my b is a negative 4, and my c is a negative 3. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? So 4 plus or minus the square root of 16, that would be 20 times 3, which is plus 60, all over 10. 4 plus or minus the square root of 76 over 10. And I'm going to approximate my square root of 76, which would be 8.77. So 4 plus or minus 8.72 all over 10. So now I break it into two equations. 4 plus 8.72 over 10 and 4 minus 8.72 over 10. Again, these are not going to be nice if I were to graph them because I have approximately 1.272 and approximately negative 0.472. So they are not nice to graph, but when I use the quadratic equation, they are awesome to work with. Okay, let's set this equation up again because I have to rearrange everything. So 9x squared plus 3x minus 7 equals 0. A would be 9, B would be 3, and C would be a negative 7. X equals the opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So let's combine things. Plus or minus, that would be 9. It's going to end up being plus 36 times 7 is 252 all over 18. So I get negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 261 all over 18. And the square root of 261 is approximately 16.16 over 18. So we can split it up into two separate equations now. Negative 3 plus 16.16 divided by 18. And negative 3 minus 16.16 divided by 18. If I do my purple first, I end up with 0.731 repeated. And then I move on to my red, and I end up with a negative 1.064 repeated. Okay, last one we have here. So I'm going to have, it's already set up for me. So it's going to be 10 is my A, negative 7 is my B, and C is my 5. So x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay, so now I've got 7 plus or minus the square root. That would be 49 minus 20 times 10 is 200 all over 20. And this one's going to end up a little different because I've got 7 plus or minus the square root of a negative 151. Now, we talked a while ago about what happens when there is a negative number underneath your square root. In that case, it is an imaginary number. So, you do have no solution. And that graph, again, remember that graph is going to look like this. It's not going to cross that x-axis at all. So there's not going to be a place that it crosses the x-axis, so my quadratic is not solvable. We're going to do some more practice in class tomorrow.